everyone. A warm welcome to the second day of the International Conference on Applied Psychology, ICAP 2026. I am Niharika Gimire, and it is my privilege to serve as your moderator for this plenary session. Today's session brings together distinguished scholars and experts whose work continues to shape the evolving landscape of applied psychology. Throughout ICAP 2026, the conference has featured keynote addresses, plenary sessions, invited talks, special sessions, and research paper presentations, reflecting the breadth, relevance, and growing impact of contemporary psychological research and practice. We are honored to have with us renowned experts who will share this, offering valuable insights into both the theoretical and practical dimensions of applied psychology. Without further ado, it is my honor to invite our session chair for today, Professor Nishat Afrosh, to take over the proceedings and conduct today's plenary session. Thank you, and I wish everyone a productive and engaging and enriching session.
Anwarul Hassan Sofi, Director Mental Health Center, University of Rajasthan, Bangladesh. And second speaker is
Rajshahi.
University of Rajshahi, yes. Second one is Professor Payal Kamar Chandel ma'am from the Professor and Central University of Haryana. Sir Anwarul Hassan sir.
Good morning, respected chair of this session, Professor Nishat, yes, and all my respected colleagues from home and abroad. I am from Bangladesh. I am retired now for last maybe 10 years, and I retired in 1950, and I'm working for the now more or less it is under the classification, it is developmentally disabled we are calling, but when we started working back in 1980, we used to call mentally retarded or something. And all the disabled children were integrated in that term. Anyway, at that time, DSM-3 was followed, and now who can understand the changes? And still working in that area. I found that in my country, in the years 1988, 90, when I asked any mother or father, do you think that sometimes hiddenly thought that your mentally handicapped child should die normally before your own death? Almost 95% said yes. Yes, this is my inert thought. 80% said no. They should continue after my death. Can take care of the child and the child remains alive. So this is my beginning. My paper that you will see in the abstract is the geriatric problems. So, whole responsibility in this few countries in South Asia. I traveled Nepal in the year widely with bicycle for almost 1 month in the year 1979. 50 years back. And after 50 years ago, I came to Nepal and I saw the situation. I also saw the situation of the mentally handicapped children in this country. And India, I frequently visited. Now, you see, in the Southeast Asian, all are thinking about since the lifespan has increased of the ordinary people as well as the disabled people because of the advancement in, though not significant, but advancement in the field of medicine and healthcare. Inadequate healthcare infrastructure 50 years ago. So we see that family bondage and family care system is being broken. Becoming lesser in this country. Introduction of the EPI system, extensive immunization system, extended immunization system in our country, they are having similar lifespan like other people. So I think some of the countries in these 7 countries also taking extensive measure in the extended system of immunization. And naturally the lifespan is increasing and the geriatric problems are more or less having similar like the other normal people. Geriatric problems, more or less same. You see, hypertension, diabetes, heart diseases, stroke, and all this, and more or less same. Whatever I found through the World Health Organization, I have a paper of 18, 19 pages. I will give it to Dr. Narendra, which we have to focus. And you see, best. This is a suggestion, of course. We will have to make the systemic infrastructure. We have to clinical and workplace capacity, community and caregiver support. We have to increase in these few countries, and lifelong transition planning we will have to do, and specialized aging with disability clinics we shall have to plan now, not establishing small scale special schools. And this is the country-wise recommendation from my side. I'm leaving the slide here, as well as you can find my email number, the full 18 pages. If you are trying, I will also try to see that it is in the research gate or something. South Asia care. It is very easy to say, but very difficult to do. And my special recommendations for South Asia are few. Share best practices among countries through regional cooperation. Establish regional training programs for geriatric and disability professionals. Promote collaborative research on aging, disability, and long-term care. Encourage investment in the community-based and family-centered care model. Good luck. If you are happy to stay in Nepal, and I will be waiting. If you ask questions, I will be very grateful. Thank you.
My name is Kriti Buju, and I just want to add on to the slide you said, like Nepal has no, Gero. I just want to update on that, like the Ministry of Women, Children and Senior Citizens, they run this, and it's just nearby here in Pasupati. You can just visit. That is my comment, so you can learn from that. And also like the government is moving toward the family and community-based elderly care, and that just happened during the interim government. The Ministry of Women, Shraddha Shrestha, he have started that initiation, and I think this is happening. So just an update.
Okay, thank you. I was very much anxious to you.
Now I'm inviting Professor Deva for their
inviting me here. As I was told yesterday, this is the first this big level conference that they are organizing, and I must say they are organizing it really well, having representation from many countries and national representation. Also I see there are many people from Nepal. India, Bharat, the land of culture and variety. So we have, like in India, we have a religious amalgamation, cultural amalgamation, and I invite all the international delegates. Anytime if you visit India, at the end I'll be dropping my email address as well, and we can connect also. Anytime you're dropping into India, please visit us. We are a central university at the state of Haryana. So, to discuss about rehabilitation psychology in gynec and reproductive health care. Mind is either disability or drugs. We never think about rehabilitation in other areas as well. So, gynae care, women health is an area where there's ample scope for rehabilitation psychologists to enter into, and they can really change the lives of women. So here we begin with the rehabilitation psychology. Talk about reproductive health and rehabilitation psychology. Two factors basically: everyday functioning to a large extent, and whenever the functioning is disrupted anyhow, like in the case of other disabilities, if the functioning is disrupted, we need intervention by rehabilitation psychologists. And so in this case as well, we need intervention of rehabilitation psychologists. And then what is the role? The rehabilitation psychologists, they rehabilitate the identity, the very identity of a female, because all the reproductive, or let's say the gynae health issues, they put a question mark on the very identity of a female. Western, whether it is Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, a female has an identity of a reproductive individual. The ability is is questioned. Whenever this ability is into danger, the entire existence of a woman is in danger. I'm sure, like in India, we have a taboo against the women who don't have children. I'm sure other nations also have similar taboos in some of the other forms existing. So yes, this is a serious issue for women. So we talk about international classification of functioning. This framework can be applied to reproductive health, vulvodynia, where chronic pain is persistent fatigue. So it like I am standing here and my legs might be trembling because of the weakness that I have. My voice, like this extreme fatigue might not even allow me to stand for 10 minutes. We'll be talking about endometriosis that make women that make it really difficult for women to even stand for a few minutes, not even for a span of a few minutes. You cannot expect compassion, you cannot expect empathy. Now we can intervene with the pain coping strategies. We can deal with our clients, we can tell them, we can guide them how they can cope with their pains, how can they adjust with their body images, like losing an organ. We lose the shape of the body, and when a woman loses an organ, it's not about just being just too slim or maybe just fat. It's not that type of body deformation, but body image adjustment as in you're not having the complete body, and that not having the complete body also intervenes with the other functions, like the sexual life is impacted to a great extent with that. And energy conservation techniques, because when we say the energy is very low, so we need to conserve whatever we have in limited amounts. We need to conserve the sexual health and the social challenges they are having because of their physical issues. And of course, it's not only about the individual, it is also about the environment they are in. So they need that support from everybody, from not only the rehabilitation psychologists, but also from the partner, the primary one, the partner, the family, the community. Starting to brush their teeth, they would go soak something in the kitchen and then get to the washroom so that they can utilize those 10 minutes for soaking the ingredients. So activity pacing is something where we guide the clients to pace these activities along with the rest periods. It's not always necessary that we run. We need some pauses in between, some rests in between. So activity pacing is you pace your activities with the periods of rests within them. Yes, social reintegration, because of the issues that you have had, somewhere the female loses the connection with the society. Sometimes she, not only the individuals but the society also is engaged. You can read, and I'll take my pause. On the physical health questionnaire, but on the WHO depression anxiety scale we have severe disability. So sometimes the measures that we are using, even they are not they don't give us the true assessment of the problem that is there. So we need to identify which measure are we using for our assessment, so that we use the proper measures. Then the rehabilitation focused here for the restoration of sitting tolerance, because for her daily tasks, for her employability, she needed that. So this rehabilitation focus was mostly on the sitting tolerance. So these things, they also need to be taken care of. So this was just one case telling you, I think, do I have time to talk about theoretical models now? 6 minutes left. Okay, so we'll just quickly take these theoretical models that are there. And so these are the frameworks that we practice in gynec and reproductive health care. So the first one is feminist disability plus ICF. So here, disability is not only talked about as a bodily thing, it is talked about as a social construct.
Thank you for your excellent presentation. In your presentation, you mentioned that a significant role, that a natural and significant role of female is childbirth, but this is not the only identity a female should have, right? So, what do you do, or what is your modality for social reintegration you mentioned in your presentation?
Never be able to understand the issue. I'd be able to help you only if I understand the issue. So the issue, yes, the physical issue the female is facing, but the society also needs to understand the issue. So we need to work on families as well. Leaving aside families, it's the individual who's suffering. I think your main focus is the individual here. So it's the individual who's suffering. So with the individual, what we have is we would gradually, it's not a one-day session where we can sort everything out, but gradually we can help a female understand that you are something beyond your body.
You mentioned the patient of our client, individual, for his personal growth. But what about the society? You mentioned the social reintegration, right? So the society is the one who makes the person's miserable. She might accept the situation, but
that's the bigger problem actually. That is the bigger problem. As many times as she tries to come back, she tries to come out of whatever she's going through, some or the other person from the society would push her back to the same place. I think bring the change in the societal mindset, because that's not a thing where we can assume that anyhow some miraculous things will happen. No matter, like let's say this is society that's sitting there. I've taken a session, the males that are sitting here have heard it. Maybe they would empathize with their wife for 2 days. Third day they'll forget about the session.
I think not necessarily male. Female also do the same as well.
Females do it more. Females do it more. They end up doing more to it, more harm.
You laid out the foundation and the background why women's voices need to be heard in the reproductive health system. And I really love that quote you made. The hormones load the gun while the environment pulls the trigger. That's really nice. So mental health has been largely ignored. And in many studies we found that the maternal mental health problem ranging from 9% and some studies saying above 50%. So what the unfortunate thing is most of the women are left on their own after pregnancy and after birth. The mental health hasn't been looked into. So I was just wondering, in India, like while you are working, do you have a support network for women, not only postpartum depression or as a whole mental health issue that can that addressed by both community members as well as professionals.
Indian, because in our culture the community comes together. The child is not the sole responsibility of the mother. In fact, it seldom goes to mother in early years only. It's the parents, whether the females or the males, it's the parents who are taking care of the child for every need of the child. The child goes to mother only when the child needs feeding or the child is sleeping. Otherwise, the child is taken care of by the other family members. So that is how the community supports this child rearing. This is one of the practices.
Right.
Then through certain rituals, we have crafted out of this helping system. So there are certain rituals that would be done on the day the child is born, the 6th day the child is born, the 15th day the child is born, 2 months after the child is born, 6 months after the child is born. So all these rituals are knitted around the well-being of the female and the child, both of them. Not staying with the families. The family system in India is also changing, as it is changing with other nationalities as well. With India also it is changing. We are moving towards nuclear families, and we have moved a lot towards nuclear families, and then we have realized we are moving in a wrong direction. We are trying to take a U-turn, going back to our families, because that is where everybody, in the previous presentation, Sir was talking about geriatric care. So the Indian family system doesn't only take care of the child, that also takes care of the elderly, their parents, and it's there in our blood, I must say.
That is the elderly population, elderly especially disabled population. And caregiving is, all we know about is due to demographic transitions, now caretaking is very difficult job. Where dual career couples are there, caretaking is very difficult, but we have to work on, especially due to the aging population and baby boomers, effect of baby boomer generation, we are flooded with the elderly. Pains are real, because first we have to empathize, we have to aware, we have to awaken those things. We do not talk about these things due to stigma and whatever the societal limitations, we are not able to openly discuss it. We need to, especially the younger generation, need to, I think they are very open and they are very, you can say very encouraging, that is, they are open to discuss these issues.
Professor Dr. Anwarul Hassan Sufi in order to receive the token of love and the certificate. To call Professor Payal Kanwar Chandel in order to receive the token of love and the certificate. Features keynote addresses, plenary sessions, invited talks, special sessions, workshops, and a parallel paper presentations, all of which reflect the breadth and depth of contemporary psychological research and practice. Today's parallel session provides an excellent platform for scholarly dialogue, constructive feedback, and the exchange of knowledge among participants from Nepal and around the world. Before proceeding ahead, I would like to brief you about the time. Each speaker will get 15 minutes to speak. We also have the time cards for 2 minutes and 1 minute according. Our session chair, Professor.
All welcome to the great session, and I'll be very short so that presenter will have enough time. I'm Sukhani Ray, professor in psychology. So we have a little bit of change in our schedule. So the first presenter will be Dr. Kamal Gautam.
Good morning and namaste everyone. I am Dr. Kamal Gautam. I am a psychiatrist by academic background and currently working as executive director for a leading mental health organization called Transcultural Psychosocial Organization Nepal. Now the evidence generated by TPA Nepal has been informing the mental health policy and practices in Nepal. So this is based on the implementation research and also the experience over the last 21 years, global mental health. So every research that we do does not really transform into the clinical practices or into policy reform. And we see that there is a huge gap between what we do and what we generate as evidence from research and what's being implemented in the real practice in the communities. And the rural and underserved population is huge, and we are not able to provide services to those communities. And additionally, policymakers in countries like Nepal, they often require local evidence before they adopt new approaches, because they require cost-effective and scalable interventions which can be rolled out in large with the low resource that is available in the country. As a co-investigator, author, or co-author, and then adding literature to the global context. But its ultimate values lies in the translation of the evidence that has been generated from the research, which would then subsequently have the implications into practice and then policy reforms in the country. It's a real-world impact model. Through this, we generate the evidence, and we also do the capacity building of various staff, including the government workers, including the researchers, academicians, and policymakers. And we heavily engage with the policymakers at the different tiers, from the federal level to the provincial level to the local level, so that they also know the context in which the research is being conducted, the need for the research, the agenda of the research, and what would the implications subsequently be contributing to the mental context in Nepal. And then, after having done all this, then it would have an implication in the scale-up and institutionalization throughout the country. So often we develop the research agendas with the academicians, with the investigators and co-investigators that are assigned to the research projects, and also with the government, because the priority settings, the sustainable development goals, targets of the government of Nepal, including the communities and also the people with lived experience who should have the greater stake in the research. First of all, so we have been trying to generate evidence on the community mental health care. So as we see, the Lancet Commission on Mental Health in 2000 to mental health care services in rural communities. So the WHO introduced the Mental Health Gap Action Program in 2009, and after that it provided guidance on how the tasks should be shared. So how the tasks that would be done by the specialists would be translated to the non-specialist health workers, so that they can deliver better mental and psychosocial support services in the communities and early intervention. And the next on the suicide. So as you see, this is a decade-long graph showing the increasing rates of suicide. What we are to reach to the 4.7 per 100,000 deaths by suicide by 2030. Currently, we are standing at 24 per 100,000 population. So it's quite challenging, and like the deaths contributed is more among the adults, adolescents, and young people, which are the more productive population. So this is a huge setback. So under this context, we have been working on suicide prevention for a long time. We have also been working with the media personnel, because media personnel reporting, the irresponsible reporting has been contributing to copycat suicide. So we might know about the weather phenomenon. So we are trying to explore how this could contribute to suicide and how the protective role of media could be enhanced. And one research has recently been published. So if you contact, I can send you the manuscript as well. So drawing on this implementation evidence, TP Nepal provided technical assistance to the Ministry of Health and Population and also the mental hospital Lagan in institutionalizing the one and only National Suicide Prevention Helpline 1166. So this has been under operation for last 5 years. So there are some to highlight. So the school mental health initiatives, the community psychosocial support based approaches, and also the suicide prevention efforts. So our experience shows that evidence is most likely to influence policy while policymakers are engaged throughout the research process, and not as a tokenism, like just disseminating the finding and then asking them to opt-in. Thank you. So I can finish in 1 minute. That we have learned. So the locally generated evidence carries significant credibility with policymakers, because we cannot just take the foreign context and then adopt them in Nepal as it is. And implementation research is more often influenced than doing efficacy studies, because this shows the practicality of implementation, how feasible. Researchers, practitioners, policymakers, and people with lived experience must work together. And the knowledge translation should be planned from the beginning of research project rather than after results are produced and then asking the government to update the findings from the research. So if you have any queries, so this is my email address and phone number.
Left, if anyone has any question.
For your very insightful presentation, and I'm really pleased to know, happy to know that you have moved away from the weird psychology that we are quite influenced by. I'm not sure everyone knows that weird psychology is Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic society. So most of our theoretical understanding is based on those findings and the research work, but you have moved away. And we are doing the same effort in Bangladesh, but you have advanced a lot, I think, because you have influenced the policymakers and others. So I was just wondering, also I saw that you have developed a suicide helpline. That's really great work. But what sort of challenges that you are facing while implementing those tools? Because stigma is very high, not only with the population, but we have found in our research that stigma is also prevalent in health professionals also. For example, I did one work a few years ago where we found that even medical doctors, they have heavy stigma against the psychiatrists. They consider they are not, they are crazy people themselves. So it's funny, but it's reality. So did you face any kind of resistance from other health professionals, nurses, technicians, who are also important part of, community psychosocial mobilization?
If you say personally, also I faced stigma because I was the one who operated psychiatry, and while we were running OPDs in TUTS, so majority of the people, they would not walk the corridor of the psychiatry department OPD, so they would not like to talk to us, and they would say that psycho doctor like that. So that's prevalent, but now things are changing over time. Because the burden is increasing, and ultimately, like majority of the people, almost one family member from each home, I believe, would be suffering from mental illness at this point of time. And what we did through our research project was we added a component of stigma. So what we did was we engaged those people with lived experience of mental health conditions. We trained the health workers and medical doctors, so they detected the case, they diagnosed, they treated, and then they recovered. What were the challenges they faced coming to care and how they recovered over time and what they have been doing now. So through this journey, that was one company, they would come to the training on MSGAP and they would narrate the stories over 10 to 15 minutes duration, and that would be reported. So mental could be treated because the health workers, they perceive that mental conditions cannot be treated and they are afraid of using medications. So this would give a narration, and that's one thing. The second one is about the aspiration figure. So those doctors and healthcare providers who treated the conditions and have abundant experience, they would come to the training and they would just share their success stories. Like these were the cases I saw, they had similar conditions and then I treated. So that would give an additional push. And training, and then after 6 weeks, and then after 3 months, over successive follow-up, we use the social distancing scale and various other stigma measures like RIPS and other tools which have been validated in Nepal. And we saw that there was successful reduction in stigma over time among the healthcare workers. And after reduction of stigma, not only the stigma, but they also developed the competence because they generated more interest towards mental, because they saw that mental conditions, including psychotic illness, could be treated, and then they gradually started having interest, and then they started detecting the cases well, and then providing more time, quality care. So that has been reflected over the duration. So by doing this has been proven effective, and currently, like, we even have been selecting some of the people with lived experience in our project. So we engage them.
Good morning, and thank you all for having me here, and thank you in advance for listening me for a couple of minutes in advance. So before going to my introduction, I would like to introduce my organization to you. Okay. Bangladesh was born in 1971 after the most post-war initiative. BRAC was one of them, and which was led by Fazli Hassan Abed, who left his corporate career behind. So now BRAC is a family of 1.5 lakh staff members. Among them, I am one of them. So among these 15 development programs, BRAC migration program is one of them, and I am working as a mental health expert in BRAC migration program. So what we do in migration, and those who return with force unsuccessfully return, we integrate them into the society. So this is a glimpse of our activities, you can see. So the migrant people who lived in abroad, they goes through mental health challenges. Among other challenges, mental health, I am focusing on mental health challenges, loneliness, anxiety, fear of losing job, language barrier, and many of them. So that was the glimpse of my organization. Now going back to my research work. Socio-demographic factors associated with attitude towards gender norms among the Bangladeshi youths. This is one of the identity. Many of the role one of is childbirth, but in our society, we consider that this is the only identity a woman should have, childbirth. And still, I agree that this is an important and naturally important role, but this is not. This cannot be the only role of the woman. So, what is gender? And there is a confusion between gender and sex. Sex is a biological characteristic, and otherwise gender is a social construct. So, gender is a social construct, rules, behavior, activity, and attributes that a society assumes that a woman or male should do. In America, APA defines gender norms as socially constructed rules, behavior, activities, and attributes that a given society considers appropriate for boys or men. A society defines what a girl should do and what should not, what a man should do and what should not. So that's the background. So according to Memino and Hayes, there are 4 core features of gender norms. One is socialization, that was learned in the childhood and from parents, peers, and it was largely encouraged by our family members and our larger society. So limitation, sampling bias, and reliance of self-report measures. This is the reference I have used here. If you are more interested, I can share you more. Thank you all for listening.
You did real well within time. So we have now questions for the presenter. Having the gender norm being more, they're favoring more rigid. Am I right or wrong? Compared to adults?
As my participant was 18 to 35,
yeah.
So it's the definition of youth is 80 to 35.
Yes.
So among them, this is not, we don't find any equitable attitude towards gender norms. And interestingly, among the male participants, there is higher inequality rather than female.
The question is whether you found younger males are referring or accepting more equitable, or you think in general?
This is
Our next presentation is by Professor Dr.
Distinguished Chairperson, distinguished professors, researchers, and all, good morning. Still good morning. Today, I will not present any research paper, but I want to bring your attention to something different, which is more suitable for our South Asian countries. Psychodoma in low resource mental health services, opportunities for South Asia. The question is not the what works or what intervention is more efficient or effective. The question should be what can we realistically reach the people who need the most. The main issue. We have trained highly efficient specialists, but they are very, very few. That's why we need to find out a solution. And psychodrama can give you the answer country. But before that, I want to show you some glimpse of psychodrama. It has 3 phases: warm-up phases, action phases where main psychodrama happens. It's not actually a theater. It uses theater technique to reduce psychological symptoms, increase mental or health well-being, and cohesion and supportive environment with each other. It has role reversal technique, which is very, very effective and very strong doubling technique and mirroring technique. I'm showing this. This is the thing we need actually. We can create mountains, rivers with some household material or simple thing and make the past or future in the present. Social reasoning skills and identity. So that changed tremendously. There are a few other research I have found, but I couldn't present here for the time limitation. So South Asian culture fits psychodrama because it has oral tradition, it has action method, and it requires collectivist culture. And it can be scalable. We can increase throughout the country, and that can be our vision for global mental health also. It is accessible, affordable, culturally meaningful, scalable through task sharing, and deeply rooted in our culture. Nowadays, marketing is very important, but psychodrama therapy has no marketing at all. For my research, we need more randomized control trial. We need cultural adapted treatment manuals, as we have already done for substance abuse, abuse and other intervention program. We need to implement research in the low middle income countries, and collaborative research should happen with different countries.
The Bangladeshi context as well and Nepal context. I work here in disaster, so my question is, like, we normally use tabletop simulation in the community preparedness and anticipated action. So this is wonderful concept, and I was wondering, can psychodrama be used as a tool for community preparedness and anticipated action rather than just a therapeutic technique?
Can you repeat your question?
Can psychodrama be used as a tool for community preparedness and anticipated action in terms of disaster rather than only as a therapeutic tool?
Psychodrama is the technique you can use in the community.
Yeah, but in terms of preparedness,
In terms of preparedness, in terms of after prevention and after care, all other things you can, and it works tremendously. It is very, very useful for disaster.
You can also mention about this other.
Yeah, and if you want to change the society as a whole, it is technically it is.
Want to keep the time short, please?
Sure. Thank you. It's an attractive and very nice presentation.
Yes.
Just one question. Really, I really impressed psychodrama. I had the opportunity to complete the basic level of psychodrama in Bangladesh, and some psychodramatist expert here also with me and you, and also Dr. Kama. So just one question. We know the impact of psychodrama is very, very depth, but how as therapists need more skill and how much is important to do it. Open the bottle, and if I don't totally cover up the bottle as safe, so it will be, how it will be affect the person. This is my question.
And can go there, and psychodrama needs a huge number of training hours. This formal. And my real answer is, no therapy should have done to the community people with 1 or 2 days stay. Every therapy can open up, and every therapy can harm unless he or she is trained specialist. And psychodrama is a surgery. So people who used to give some medicine, anyone can give, but surgery you cannot do so.
Good morning. Let me welcome all of you in my presentation. My presentation is not just a research paper, it is the history of psychology in Bangladesh. So I have been asked to present a paper like this. So far I know the development of psychology in Bangladesh not been documented so far. So is my interest to document evolution of applied psychology or psychology in Bangladesh. If you look at the historical background of the history of psychology in Bangladesh in 1956, psychology as a discipline, as a department, has been started in 1956 at the Department of Psychology, Rajshahi University. And from the very beginning, some scholars from the Punjab University and some scholars from the Patna University and some scholars from the London University, they have started this department first. We have our undergraduate and postgraduate program and PhD program are there. And then Dhaka University also, after Department of Psychology, they have started their clinical psychology department and educational psychology department as an independent department. From University in 2005, and psychology also studying another Science and Technology University is called Pirozpur Science and Technology University, Bangladesh. They have started very recently in 2023. Applied psychology in Bangladesh, there are clinical and counseling psychology, industrial and organizational psychology, educational and development psychology, as well as school psychology also studied in Bangladesh. Advanced research and university, they have 2 years, we have 2 years in this program.
That is the matter of the social psychology, but there is no branches of the social psychology over there. And the present time is still Bangladesh facing the problem of the group relation. So I know that
it's social psychology, social psychology, industrial psychology also part of the social psychology.
industrial psychology is a part of the
Part of social psychology.
There is, just I am interested to
But
know
it don't have any other department as well, but it is studied in the Department of Psychology.
Okay. Because Bangladesh is the major issues of the group relation.
Yeah.
They should be at the branch of the psychology.
Please give a hand of applause for Professor. Yes. I know the time is limited. I'm so sorry that the presenters have to be cut short. Our next presenter is Professor Roshan Lal Dasia. Am I pronouncing correct?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all of you. I'm audible? I'm audible? Okay. It's a morning. Okay, no problem. Good morning. I'm going to talk about the immigrant children in India and Switzerland. This is the very small piece of the work of our Indo-Swiss collaborative research project. But the problem now is the time constraint, so my chair permit me to utilize the 12 to 15 minutes. So my investigator Andrea Enipoti. This is very tough to stay very in one place because being a teacher, just we are moving here and there. If I am audible, is it okay? Myself, so I am not comfortable. So here is the collaborative research presentation, and Andrea Enipoti, she is the principal investigator in Switzerland, and Professor R.C. Misra sir, he is my mentor and the supervisor and also the project partner for this project. And Lena Iten, she is the statistician with the psychological background. Here is the outline of my presentation, facts about immigrants, why we are working in the area of immigration. So what is the requirement and what is the relevance of this research in the present context. And typical model what we propose in this project. Another is the research context where we are talking about where we are located our research field. So these are the facts. When we see around the world, we found that everyone is fighting and people are moving from one place to another place because of several reasons. And the most important reason is the war, violence, civil war, and the education is the positive reason. But the most of the important reason is of the survival purpose.
We are going to start session 5 within a few minutes. I hope you have already gave your presentation slides in the computer.
Descriptions of the samples is.
Ethics is an unavoidable part of everyday life. Whether we invest money, choose career, or drive through traffic, in every important decisions, there are some potential risks. There are some potential balancing between the potential reward against possible loss. Some people perceive uncertainty as exciting opportunity, whereas others see it as potential threat. Coming to the key variables, so risk-taking behavior refers to the voluntary engagement. Refers to widely in their risk-taking stable, enduring pattern of thinking to risk use. Personality traits are relatively stable across time and situation. It helps to explain why some individuals consistently take more risks than others. To perceive, understand, and regulate and manage emotions in oneself and think more clearly during uncertainty. The way they perceive, evaluate, and respond to the situation. That is the big 5 personality trait. So previous researchers
In a school system tailored toward assimilation,
loss of control and withdrawal symptoms, as well as neglecting offline responsibilities. I feel that these are the more the areas to be concerned, right, among adolescents. So why do they have such the kind of the problematic behaviors among the social networking, right? And then sometimes they also lose the controls, right? So what are the least controls? They may are investing the most of the time and their energies into this kind of platform. Exposures near bedtime suppresses the melatonin productions. The late night notification interrupt REM sleeps and cycles, and actually impairing mood regulations and academic performance, as well as they are finding difficult themselves to manage their emotions in the social networking. So they may so 0 hours, a complete digital disconnections can isolate teens from their peer groups. That's one, right? This active engagement it is of the behavior and psychological impact, and then general vulnerability.
For to better adolescents' mental health, the ACL intervention significantly strengthened adolescents' emotional and psychological competency and in a low resource setting with strong cultural relevance and practical feasibility delivery. So our recommendation is it's integrated into school system, not it's a complementary, and it can use sustainable low cost settings just like Nepal and other low and middle income countries. Low cost setting intervention tool, it's a concept.
From the audience, I think it's an interesting project, so you might learn something more from
you.
How many years or how many times or how many cycles you go through with the participant or adolescents?
I can show you this. This package is 13 sessions. So before we validate the data, it's a procedure to the Nepal government and is asking everyone. Discuss later on, or you can also discuss with Pitama or Verela and
in this package is like before enrolling intervention to the student, since it's a prevention and promotion, it was enrolled to the whole class or whole student. We had visited the children like thrice through before intervention we had pre-test, which consisted all the socio-emotional domain, and there were questionnaires. The quantitative information was collected. As Prem mentioned, after around 1.5 months of the intervention, again we visited to the children and we had the post-test, and after some durations, like around 2 to 3 weeks duration, then we had collection of qualitative information with the teachers, with the students who were enrolled in the socio-emotional learning packages, and also with their parents who received the caregivers packages that was around for 3 hours. Yeah, thank you. Break time or other time.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. I just want to know if there is a prolonged engagement or not before.
Yeah, Abdullah Mamun from National University, Bangladesh. With this subject. So thank you everyone. We may start cognitive and emotional factor influencing performance in 800-meter sprinting. We may discuss one by one. First of all, the challenge of beyond the physical capability. Capability they have, we have. Physical foundation, physiological determination.
Emotional control, helping caregivers to stay calm, focused and in high pressure situation, because that is a time bound, everything is being less, but whatever hope, everything is more at the whatever as caregiver you have everything more, but the time is less. It's always a race against the time, I should say. So social intelligence, on the other hand, that plays a very important role, fosters stronger relationships and better communication, which helps to prevent feelings of isolation and offer emotional support, a key component of resilience, which is critical for caregivers to both support their loved ones and seek help when it is being needed. Strength and resilience on the caregiver burden, what helps caregivers of cancer patients cope with the immense challenge they face. I'm not going to, because time is less, so I'm just focusing on to the analysis. My aim was to explore the effects of character strength and resilience on the experience of caregiver burden among informal caregivers of cancer patients. I have not focused on two formal ones. So these were the major objectives: to examine socio-demographic characteristics of caregivers of cancer patients, to evaluate burden experienced by primary caregivers along their character strengths and levels of resilience manner it affected, and that plays a major role over there. So these were the hypotheses. So resilience significantly reduced the level of caregiver burden experience. That was my first hypothesis. Character strength significantly influenced the level of caregiver burden experience, and specific character strengths such as hope, gratitude or perseverance are significantly negatively correlated with caregiver burden. They are constrained into Varanasi only. So from Apex Super Specialty Hospital, Homi Bhabha Cancer Hospital, Banaras Hindu University Cancer Hospital and Mahamana Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya Cancer Hospital. Non-probability sampling method was employed, especially convenience and purposive sampling techniques to ensure a diverse group of participants based on their shared variables of being primary caregiver of the cancer patients. So the age was not restricted. We were not able to restrict the age, because somewhere I saw husband was there, so wife was the caregiver. Somewhere I saw a lady was there and his 12 years old boy was there to take care. So it was just like that. These were the tools that sociogrammic, because for that, because it plays a role, cultural diversity, age, gender, but significant role was not able, we were not able to find any significant role because everybody was busy with the same type of thing. I found everybody, the father was there and the kid was, I think, 7 to 8 years, and they were having that esophagus cancer.
So I'm a positive psychologist, and one of my most interested research concept called wisdom. All of us have known about it, but I work on it from an empirical point of view.
Sure.
And therefore, today what I want to talk about is combining my research interest of wisdom with something what each one of us know about, and Dr. Mahesh Babu spoke about screen time and digital flourishing, and therefore that presentation was more toward the negative connotation. And for past few conferences where I'm going, I'm trying to make the balance here. The Swiss project where I have a partner from EPFL, it is a ICSSR funded project. Second one was also ICSR funded project on misinformation. Both of them are over, and the third one what I'm currently working on is related to how AI is leading to de-skilling in human capability.
So the procrastination is voluntary delay of intended actions which will give us the negative consequences still after knowing that we delay them. Consciousness is consistently associated with greater discipline and organization, persistent good directive behavior, though in like personality factors is a person who is mostly disciplined and can inhibit and better their self-regulation.
I am going to make it short, so many of my slides that has research literature, I'll just skip it. Just in advance, I'm going to say, can you hear me? Strategy. And I'm Sukhanya Ray, faculty in psychology. Just what's my identity, and also rising university students and my advocacy work in Asian communities have informed my research interest. So what I'm going to do is pretty much look at mental health risks, health disparities, and need for service slides through co-chair or your organizer. But I'm going to focus on the 4 major projects that I have done on Asian mental health disparity issue, healthcare providers, relationship issue with the client. That will give you a little bit of idea what my work is. So in terms of mental health risks of Asians living in the West, and particularly in minority men, many do not think we need help, mostly Asians, but the resiliency factors, health conditions, and utilization of mental health services. Last 5 years, I have been doing research on Asian community, how they have experienced.
So layer, they are mostly, I can go to the slide. The maximum given response to the motor layer, and then rag and then sarsh. And this is motor is 0.42 and sarsh correlation is moderately low. So we have partial doubt. Then the correlation between sarsh and motor layer reduced to 0.5. Okay. Okay, thank you. So I think the conclusion I have little bit understood.
Same to the other mirrors.
Okay.
Listen here and co-chair.
We have a time constraint. Within the time limit, please.
Yes, obviously.
Explain it very precisely.
Very precisely. So thank you all my friend and colleague over here. My topic is the qualitative research done in 2023 and my PhD work. So where I research 56 different. In the introduction, I wrote the political ideology, leadership, governance, and organization culture. This is the more related to the leadership and the IO psychology. Significance of this study is mostly in the political psychology. In Nepal, which is considered as the preeminent field of study in Nepal. So there is how political ideology influences leadership and identifying psychological perspective underlying ideological leadership and synthesize empirical finding from recent literature. So just I already mentioned the scope of this study is synthesis paper, 56 different scientific article and literature, starting from the 1971 Tupler RC and the latest people to Karbi in the 2025 Nepalese article. Cognitive dissonance, moral foundation theories. These 3 psychological theories I emphasize more in the advocacy, the equality, collective decision making, nationalist. They have a strong identity regarding the nationalist and they have centralized authority. So common theme in total whole 56 articles, I found that ideology influences leadership values.
Syndrome. That's why I feel like presenting this one here. So my presenting is Dr. Mostly She is assistant professor in university, vocal case, this is a 7-year-old Arab. He had developed community-acquired pneumonia. And following that, he was so sick that he had to admit the child in the PICU. We shifted the child to the ward. He refused to go to the school. There is definitely. So is it the deconditioning of the situation, or it is PIC, that is post-intensive care syndrome in the PICU?
Build trust and healthy mind. We do our community advocacy for different Asian groups. Now we started with aging population because they were neglected a lot.
Get contact with the particular eye object, what happens there arise particular vijnana, that consciousness, very bare consciousness arises. Due to that consciousness, again my next faculty of my mind arises, that is sanya, perception. Perception evaluates that particular object, that what I see from our eye. And then because of that perception of sanya, again next faculty of our mind arises, that is that is known as vedana, feeling. Feeling always, either it is positive, negative, or neutral feeling arises. Due to that feeling, and then another next, mental factor arises, that is mental formation. We say, sankhar. Related to that, the particular object that we assess. That is, this is the process always takes place. Chakhunsa, rupacha, upajati, chakhuvinyanam, tinnang sangati fassa, yang fassati. Tang sanjanati, yang sanjanati, tang vitaketi, yang vitanketi, tang papancheti. That way, Buddha talks about how we are mingled, how we, lost in this world among the different sense and unsensed thought process. It's cause for the particular perception of that is sanya, and this particular Buddhist literature. The sixfold cognitive process, for example, we're talking about eyebrow process, eye sensitivity, when it gets contact with the visible object, and there should be a light, and there should be a particular attention also. But in Western psychology, we also talk about attention. Attention is very important, but we find, there is a light for the eye door process, there is required of the space for the ear door process, air element for nose door process, water element for tongue door.
Title is thematic.
Mantra is basically derived from the Sanskrit word, which has two words, mind and instrument. So it basically means the instrument of mind. As we know in our Hindu culture, a basic mantra, practicing of mantra is connected to emotional regulation, inner calmness. So this study is basically to understand, if we practice Mahamantra, then how can it affect normal population? This literature primarily focused on quantitative studies. So this study focuses on qualitative one. Regulate their emotions during stressful situations and to identify the major themes representing the lived experiences. Basically, it is a phenomenological study to understand the lived experiences was used to analyze the qualitative data, and it revealed 6 major themes like existential awareness, devotional connectedness, inner balance, cognitive.
Let's just this is a correlation results for the majority group. I'll just explain one of the findings. Next one, please. This is the correlation findings for the minority group. Next one, please. So this is the interesting result here. Very strongly supported.
Mental health. So this is why I brought one picture to share with you. This is how we started our community development project after we completed our participatory action research 3 years ago. Platform to discuss how we could be and also not excluded. Our community development approach when we are working with people living with HIV. So community development brings people together in a common platform so they can share their experiences, their aspirations, their interests, their challenges.
We know about what is the postpartum depression. Postpartum depression is a common mental health condition that occurs after childbirth. During this period, woman goes through physical, psychological, and numbers of social changes. These are the core symptoms of postpartum depression: persistent sadness and hopeless
emotional dysregulation, fatigue and sleep disturbances, difficulty bonding with their habit, experiences of working women. Second objective is to explore the lived experiences of non-working women. Third objective is that to identify and analyze the similarities and the difference in PPD experience. These family expectations. Next. This slide show the comparison.
As a student of psychology, I would like to understand it from the angle of personality. You know, every bigger decision, when we try to analyze it from the perspective of the nation or policy, behind that decision there is a person, and that person is heavily influenced by his worldview he is having. But that worldview, I am a little conservative using the term ideology for that worldview.
So ideology term they use to support their idea.
If you want to stay for the next session as well, you can stay. We'll have another session on AI and others. He's already there.
Yeah, I was waiting for you.
That was present on pediatric intensive care. It's a review paper only. And one observation, everyone missing citation. No one cited any references in your PPT. No one. Total 7 presenters were there, but no one cited the reference. No one mentioned about the original author. You can give it a positive way. It's a suggestion only. Whenever you are going to present somewhere, please please cite the original author. Nepal is.
Yeah, I'm pretending.
Yeah, they are. Like our
Hello everyone. Sorry for the delay. We had some issues. So we are merging 3 sessions right now. Session number 10, 11 and 12. So I'll be calling your presenter's name as well. Before that, let's welcome our session chair, Mr. Sunanta Divya Vasista. So hello everyone, I'm Dipta Gimire and I'll be your moderator for today. And we will have our timekeeper as
in enhancing psychological well-being among college students. My name is Pooja Jadon. I am from India. I am a research scholar at Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar University, Agra, and assistant professor at Mahatma Gandhi PG College, Firozabad, India. So my PPT contains introduction, methods, result, discussion and conclusion. As we are aware that being cope up of daily difficulties we face purposely sampled 120 undergraduate students, and I used Google smartphone addiction scale short version. The statistic used is mean, standard deviation, and correlation. Students with healthier digital habits reported better psychological well-being and greater mindfulness. Overall, that mindfulness helps improve
physiological performance test. And further, when we start about the depth perception, I have chosen depth perception, which I have taken 10 trials for each sample for the data. Nelson ruler drop test, 20 trials, and an average record for the reaction time, overall service for the service, and overall accuracy for the pass is like 0.05. Next, if you can see the figure number 1, that is the mean score of the variables. The table shows the descriptive stats explaining the normality and objectivity of collected data set. Person has a strong positive significant level of correlation, significant correlation with the passing accuracy. Right now I am talking about this. We can go for our students or the
there are two opposite dimensions. First one is the promise and second is reality. In promise, we can find road infrastructure that drives economic growth. It is eco-friendly road. In the case of Nepal, the Nepal possesses comprehensive environmental policies for eco-friendly roads. Monitoring. Fourth is inadequate stakeholder participation. Fifth, financial and technical constraints, and sixth, political interference.
The topic is the part of my MPhil research. So I'm going to present my research today. The phone, the electronic devices. In my study, I have studied two roles. One is cyberbullying victimization, and another is cyberbullying perpetration. Perpetration means actively harming others online, and cyberbullying victimization means being targeted online. Bangladesh. 85% of youth see cyberbullying as a serious problem. 80% of reported victims are women.
They are in an urban area or rural area, or Bangladesh whole,
or over the age of
students, or
they're adult. They're young adult. Yeah, they are 18 plus.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shailja Sharma from Central University of Haryana, and I have conducted days. You will get AI assistance on search engines and web browsers, social media platforms, everywhere, wherever you need it. AI is always there, and that kind of abundance is very prominent and consistent, not only in our lives but also in every application that we use on our technical devices. They kind of make up and they constitute a really big extensive usage of AI has on their cognitive abilities. I conducted this research.
A research scholar in physical education from Central University of South Bihar. So here's my presentation topic. Today I will be presenting my research paper on multidimensional assessment of athletic coping skills and their association with competitive performance in volleyball players. So, moving for the introduction with a quote: "When physical skills is equal, psychology decides the winner." Scores a goal, or if a player scores a basket, then mostly people conclude with this that this was his day. So, I have mentioned it. When physical skills is equal, psychology decides the winner. It means if we move up to a certain limit, then most of the players performing at elite level, their physiological differences are very minimal. They are having very less difference while compared at physiological level. I have checked the critical gap in the literature existing or studies injury prevention in isolation. Like in injury prevention section, biomechanical analysis section, or like improving the vertical jumps, improving the physiological strength. These studies have done already in field of physical education, but
The direct studies assessing multidimensional athletic coping skills alongside competitive performance in volleyball remain underexplored. Lots of studies presented in these fields. Also, in field of injury prevention, biomechanical analysis, lots of studies are there. But while going for the coping skills, there are very less studies which are directly associated with coping abilities and performance outcomes of athletes.
Good evening, everyone. I am Atika Siddiqui, a research scholar from Department of Psychology, Banaras Hindu University, India. Today, I will be presenting my study on association of interpersonal sensitivity and problematic interactive media use among adolescents. It is a behavior characterized by compulsive use of interactive screen media, which increases tolerance to such use and negative reactions when removed from it. But even more, it involves various interactive platforms such as social media, information seeking, gaming, pornography. If we talk about prevalence of PIMU, PIMU is still developing and most prevalence studies have been conducted using similar terminologies. And if we talk about India, the prevalence is concerned about others' criticism. Here I will be focusing on the cause and effect. So, interpersonal sensitivity.
It could have been because we were focusing on the rural population who are not actively engaged in listening to music while working. So they might have focused only on performing the task instead of listening to music and focusing on music as well. So for future, I would like to. Secondly, I would also like to inculcate the urban population and do a comparative research.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gauri Rathod and I'm from IIS Kathmandu University in Jaipur. The topic for my research was relationship between leadership, self-esteem and general health of adolescents.
It cannot be developed separately. For self-esteem, I believe self-esteem is evaluating our own self-worth. General health is never just physical health or just mental health. They both go side to side.
Status in Indian academic institutions from the ancient to the contemporary era. So I'm just defining the key terms in the introduction. Representation basically refers to the women's numerical presence in academic space, be it as a student, teacher, leadership position. They represent almost rolling equally, but with a narrow leadership pipeline. We can't see women equally leading in comparison to men.